cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's very exciting episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name, of course, is Sunny. I am your host. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
Hello.
And, of course, before we get too far in, we want to thank all of our wonderful patrons. So, a huge thank you to Cam Yang, Top Cuts, Trouble Sunny, and Caleb, Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Marshawn Jones, Zyphorus, Yeet Defeat, AD, Dank Nugs, Earth Machine, Best Deck, Epi, Has Anyone Actually Read Toy Vendor, HGH Cyber, I Am McLincoln, Imagine Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2022 on Earth, in the Milky Way Galaxy, in the Universe on Earth in 2022 playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Jarrett Helton, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Quitting the Game as a Floodgate, True!
Yeah.
Rudolph, Sprite Farter, Super Ancient Deep CDs, Nuts King, Coelacanth, Tearlament's Having this Floodgate in your mouth, Tindangle Doles, more like Tindangle D's Nuts, Unbanned Number 95, Konami, Understanding and Reading are two different things, Virtually Savior's World, You Still Play Dragon Link? Well, cry me a river while I'm dragging these nuts across your face, Zingus Khan, Aaron Gardner, Asami, Ashless Chaps, Brandon Potter, Duty Booty, Dragon Maidenless Behavior, Jerry Beans Man, King Henry, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, Ray Powell, Shockmaster Did Nothing Wrong, Slaking It Up, Stop Crying About Called By, It's Balanced. The Meta Killers podcast tries to indoctrinate Sunny and Caleb to play Flunder, hashtag Flunder Best Deck, L plus Ratio plus Appaloosa is not a floodgate, which is, again, true. And Where Appaloosa Dating Sim Konami. So, of course, we want to take and extend, again, a huge thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. And before we get too much farther, before I forget, actually, I want to read a couple of reviews. We used to read all of our reviews, and we've since gotten out of that, not because we don't want to or because we don't like our reviews, we think they're bad. We have nothing but like perfect 5-star ratings and reviews, which we are, again, so thankful to all of you for. And this review, the reviews come from like Apple Podcasts and stuff. But like I said, we used to read them all out, and we started getting like a good amount, and we kept forgetting. And so, of course, let's do these because one of them really touched me. So we're going to start off with a great podcast from King Gecko, 5 stars. The Top Cut podcast single-handedly got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And has helped me so much to learn how new things work and to keep me up to date on cards and such. I'm very happy. That was one of our goals with the podcast. I'm really happy that we could help somebody out in that way.
Heck yeah.
And this review comes in from Luck and Funk. 5 stars. Great show. I have been listening with my 11-year-old son, who is just getting into the game playing a Heroes deck, on the way to and from school. As a parent who is about a generation too old to have played as a kid, this has been a great resource and source of entertainment for us as we try to learn about the game. The show has a great local game shop vibe. We have found a great community near us and consider Sunny and Caleb as an extension of that.
Aw, I appreciate that. That touches me in the cockles of my heart.
So I have a son too. I don't know how many people know this. I have a 5-year-old. And it's something that I really hope that we can do one day, is bond over this game that I know I love, that I hope that one day it's a game that he loves. And so,
boy, will he have access to some good cards.
Yes, he will. And the best part is I can justify it at that point.
Yup.
But
he's going to rock the Dragon Duels, let me tell you.
My goal is to train him like Goku was trained as a child. He will be a Dragon Duel World Champion. But actually, honestly, this review really hit me hard in a special place. Having a 5-year-old, having a small son, I don't think I have to tell anybody that has children, but you really hope to be able to enjoy any hobby with them one day, and to really be able to have that opportunity to spend that time with my son and to be there with him is something that I look forward to one day. So,
oh yeah.
Very genuinely a huge thank you for listening. We try to keep the show pretty clean for the most part. I know sometimes stuff slips, but
Yeah, for that exact reason.
yeah, because it's my goal that one day my son might be able to go back and listen to this podcast, and maybe not this particular episode or whatever, but to be able to listen to about how to get into the game, where to start and things like that. And sure, he'll have me there as a resource, but to be able to provide that knowledge for the next generation of duelists, which I think is so critical and important, is a huge deal to me. So that really touched me, and I really want to thank this reviewer in particular for sharing that with us. It means a lot to me. So let's go ahead and I know that we're getting kind of far in and we're kind of burying the lead a little bit. I know that this is the big ban list episode. Mm-hmm. Everybody's very ready. I'm just going to do a couple of, I promise I'll keep it short today. Quick ad reads.
Yeah.
So huge thank you to Millennium Threads. Millennium Threads is a wonderful Etsy store that you can go to find some wonderful Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparel. I highly recommend them. You can find some awesome t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. And they're all custom embroidered. They look great. And you can use code TOPCUT10 at checkout to get 10% off of your entire order. Also want to recommend Dragon Shield products. Dragon Shield is one of the largest accessory manufacturers in the world, and they're most well known for their sleeves. Of course, they make binders, deck boxes, and playmats. But be sure to check out their wonderful sleeve selection. It is on their website. They have a bunch of new colors coming, designs. You can find all of that in the link in the description down below. It is an affiliate link, and it helps support the podcast at no additional cost to you. And of course, the TCG Player affiliate link is down there. It also helps support the podcast, in addition to the Patreon supporting the podcast. We have been investing in. I hope that.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, I hope that those on YouTube can tell. We spent a good amount of money recently, actually, pretty much all Patreon money, on getting lighting set up, getting cameras, things like that. There are huge investments going into the channel.
Yeah, we got a light like right there behind the camera. We got a light like right over here. You want me to just lean this in real quick?
No, because it's gonna mess up the shot.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah.
But I hope they believe us. We have a bunch of lights now.
I'm just very proud of these because it makes our actual video itself look so much better.
Yes, so much better, honestly. So, of course, we are going to go ahead and move on in. But again, thank you everybody for your wonderful support. It really means the world to us. So let's go ahead and talk about the ban list. So let's talk a little bit about this ban list. We got a ban list today. Of course, everybody knows about this ban list.
As of you listening, it was yesterday.
Correct. So we're recording this like late Monday night. The ban list came out right around noon today, and it's
a lot of people at first thought it was a joke.
Well, it is, but we'll get into that.
But no, because like I remember a lot of people going, because like we've had this kind of joke where somebody's like, "Oh, the ban list came out, man! I can't believe they did this," and people are like, "What?" Yeah. And they go, "Look, there's no ban list."
Yeah. So it was a little bit unbelievable at first to actually get the ban list.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it,
and I really wasn't expecting it on a Monday. Honestly, I just don't feel like the ban lists usually come on Mondays, but we did get a ban list today, and yesterday. We got a ban list yesterday, and I know we didn't do the live reaction episode like we normally do, but with us both working full time, it's not really a feasible thing for us anymore. Just the situation has changed a little bit, so we hope you understand. But here we can give you a much more in-depth discussion about the ban list and what we think went right and went wrong with the ban list, as well as. I also want to let everybody know now. I'll put a reminder at the beginning of next episode, but we recorded what was supposed to be today's episode. We recorded it Sunday night,
and we're pushing that episode to Friday.
Yeah, so there's gonna be some talk in there about if we ever get a ban list.
Yeah,
but obviously
we got it.
So okay, so this is the Forbidden and Limited list, effective from October the 3rd of 2022. So next Monday, Tuesday, something like that.
I want to say that's next Monday, but I will double check that because now I'm curious because I never bothered to look.
Yeah. I never bothered to actually check the day itself. Yeah, that's Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
All right,
Yeah,
so effective from next Monday,
Hey, we got a week's notice.
which is a lot compared to last time where it was effective that day.
Yeah, where we had a 4-day notice.
Yeah, so as always, cards that are forbidden are permitted to have 0 copies in your deck list. Cards that are limited to 1 copy. Cards that are semi-limited are limited to 2 copies. And cards that are unlimited, you're allowed to have 3 copies in your deck. Okay,
Three
so
copies.
let's go ahead and start with the banned cards. So the first banned card is one that I think a lot of people wanted banned. I know I called for this on my personal ban prediction as well as my wish list. Mm-hmm. The first card is Fairy Tale Snow.
Yeah, how long was she around before they rebanned her?
Well, released off the ban list in January, banned again in October.
So yeah, so
it was
like
late January.
So she's around for
9.5 months.
Yeah, so she's around for 2 ban lists.
Yeah, 2 formats. She made it through 1 ban list before she got rebanned on the next one.
Yeah, too strong.
Fairy Tale Snow is a crazy card. I understand not hitting it back on the May ban list because at that point it wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah,
But then
it started doing things.
right, so Branded got released, and after Branded got released, they were sending it with Branded Fusion as the light target to go into one of the either Lubellion. I think it was Lubellion.
Yeah.
So they would send it like that, and then after Branded fell out of favor, it was because Tearlament became the best deck, pretty much, and Tearlaments were sending it off of Curious. So,
Oh boy, or using it to make Curious sometime on a rare occasion.
or both.
Pone que los dos.
Yeah, I don't think that you could. I don't think sequencing works to where it works for both.
I mean, if you used it to make Curious, and then like as soon as it's a graveyard, you like activate effect, banish 7, they're like silent graveyard, put it back in the deck. Effective Curious, put it back in the graveyard.
I guess you mean Foolish Return?
Yeah, Foolish Return. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess in theory, yes.
You could theoretically do it. It could happen. I'm not saying it ever will, but
I don't think it ever
could.
has happened. But what you could do in that instance is actually chain Snow to just
Yeah,
because Snow's not once
changeable,
per
yeah.
turn. So Snow is absolutely deserved. It was a level 4. The Tearlament deck would go into Curious to send Snow directly from deck to grave, and then bring back Snow using its own effect and use it as overlay material or link material to go into Appaloosa or whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
The card was certifiably insane and absolutely deserving of being rebanned. Next, we have Ronin Toden. This one's actually really interesting.
Yes, because it hits specifically Sprite.
Right.
But then it doesn't affect other decks that also use Totally Awesome as a kind of crutch to produce an inboard.
Right. So basically, most decks up to this point were using Totally Awesome through Bahamut Shark. Mm-hmm. So essentially how that works is you would go 2 level 4 waters into Bahamut Shark, like say 2 Marincess monsters.
Yeah.
And then detach from Bahamut Shark to special summon Toad from the extra deck, effectively cheating it out. Mm-hmm. And then you would just use Toad that way.
Yeah, you'd only get like 1 Toad negate, but then specifically Marincess, you would Toad negate and then get to add back a Marincess back to your hand.
Right. Also, in Sprite, Ronin Toden was really the key there because Sprites all being level 2, they actually utilized the Frog engine to make Totally Awesome.
Yeah, and then they would use this effect to negate, and then Elf would bring it back for another negate on the same turn.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with this, honestly. I think that Totally Awesome is actually a very cool card, and it leaves the Frog engine as a playable engine, and it also gives the water decks, which are known to be a bit underpowered, of that little extra oomph that they kind of need.
Yeah, because like right now the 2 main water decks are Shark Control using Stealth Kraken and Marincess.
Right.
Yeah, who can both perform the rank 4 Exceed Summon into Bahamut Shark.
Right. So I like that hit quite a lot. A lot of people didn't like it at first. I really like it.
I was a little kind of at first, but then like now after I had time to like think about it and let it digest, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Next, we have Krishan Helki Firebrax.
Finally.
This feels one list too late because I feel like it wasn't doing quite as much now.
Oh yeah, no, this is
It's overdue.
yeah.
Overall, I like this hit a lot. I think that Helki Firebrax will be a problem as long as it's around. It limits future card design, and it was a lot of the enabler behind most Scythe locks.
I mean, it is almost the Verte of synchros. Almost.
It's insane. It's worth. That's an apt comparison.
Actually, I'd almost say it's a little bit better than Verte, only because Verte's entire existence was to summon out Dragoon or DPE at the end of a turn, right?
Sure.
Whereas Halka Firebrax could either make synchro plays itself, and then your opponent's turn you can tag out into formula and conduct other synchro summon to your opponent's turn, and also draw a card on top of that. And in addition to that, you can also use it to like summon Despot, go into Auroradon back when Auroradon was legal.
Right.
Now you can. Now I've seen Striker players summon out Effect Veiler and go into Celine getting out another, pulling the Effect Veiler back access code.
Yes. Helki Firebrax is an unequivocally strong card that absolutely should not be underestimated. And this is a very just ban, in my opinion. I see no problem with this ban. And it may be a little overdue, but better late than never.
That's my one complaint.
Yeah. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. This is such an interesting card. So essentially you have a card that's a generic level 8 synchro with 3,000 attack that can mill 5 cards from the top of your deck.
Granted,
add a light or dark monster from those to your hand.
That's even if you hit one, you could whiff, or you could just not run any light or dark and you just don't care.
And you just dump 5.
Yeah. And not only that, it can also revive itself.
Yes, and it provides extension also. The card is just literally insane. This is a hit to a lot of the Punk strategy, so I don't think Punk tier limit is a deck at all anymore. I think that this is enough to where the deck is no longer a thing. But between Hulk and this, Punk tier limit is not a deck anymore.
But also, Dragon Link took a huge indirect hit.
Yeah. Dragon Link got bodied on accident.
Yeah. It was in the crossfire.
Yeah.
It happens.
And our last banned card is Red Reboot. So, Red Reboot is... It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a ton of justification for Red Reboot to be banned. It is a singularly game-warping card. Few others.
Oh, yeah, no. It's definitely one of those cards that if your opponent sets 5 and passes and you have a Red Reboot, you've won.
I wouldn't say all the time that you've won.
Okay, listen, if your opponent sets 5 traps and you have a Red Reboot in hand, how do you not win?
Because if they activate something that you have to negate, and you Red Reboot and they have Solemn Judgment, you auto lose.
That's fair, but then that also requires them to have exactly Solemn Judgment.
It happens every time I play against Eldritch.
Yes, I am aware. It also happens every single time you... No, there's one time when you're dueling me while I was playing Labyrinth where I flipped a trap and you Red Rebooted me and I didn't have Solemn Judgment. Once. It's happened once.
I remember when we were at the case tournament for Power of the Elements, and I played against the Trap Eldritch. Actually, I played against 2 Trap Eldritch players. They traveled there together.
Ooh.
And one of the Trap Eldritch players that I played against, I normal summoned Mo Yi, activated effect, and he hit me with Solemn Strike. And I was like, I have to Red Reboot here. I don't have another way to play. And I hit him with the Red Reboot, and he Solemn Judgmented.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. But Red Reboot is a singularly powerful card that wins games immediately if it resolves. The issue is...
At the cheap cost of half your life points, too. And from your hand, you never have to set it. There's no reason to ever set the thing.
Right. There's never a reason to set it. Because it's spell speed 3. You can activate it from your hand as a trap card at the cost of half your life. If you set it first, you don't even need to pay half your life.
Yeah. It's only half your life if you play out your hand.
Right. So, it's... Like I said, it's a singularly powerful card that warps games. I think that my issue with this is that there are certain trap cards in the game that have the ability to have no interaction, and Red Reboot was your only way of interacting with those cards. So the good examples that I have here are Dimensional Barrier and Harpy's Featherstorm.
Mm-hmm.
My issue here with Red Reboot versus these cards is that if your opponent, let's say I'm playing Sword Soul, which I play a lot,
Yeah.
and my opponent activates Dimensional Barrier and calls Synchro. If I don't have Red Reboot right there, I probably lose the game.
Oh, yeah, because in a lot of decks, that one turn loss is that's it. Game's over. They're just going to OTK you.
Right, and when we were in Despia Sword Soul format, everybody was playing D-Barrier. I had to have the Red Reboot in my hand, or a lot of times I just lost. They have 3 D-Barrier. Flunder has 3 Harpy's Featherstorm.
Like, the worst thing I've ever seen happen is it was in one of those regionals or something. I don't remember which tournament it was, and like the person next to me activates D barrier, calls fusion.
Sure.
Their opponent judgments.
Sure.
They're like, okay, cool, resolve. Okay, do you have anything? Okay, new chain, D barrier.
Yeah.
He just set 2 and was like, cool.
Is D-Barrier not once per turn?
No. Like, I think you can only activate, and then judgment negates the activation.
Regardless, these are such singularly powerful cards. And now, if I'm going second, those cards are an auto loss for me.
Mm-hmm.
At least when Red Reboot was legal, you have some way to potentially interact with those cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have a way to play around or play into those cards. I just lose.
Yeah, like, I think the only way that at that point is that you just so happen to also top deck like your Cosmic Cyclone, or you're like one decked in Cosmic Cyclone and you just blind hit it.
Why wouldn't they just chain it?
What if they don't know what you're playing yet? Like, literally, game 1, it's a mad person who's sighted it in, and you top deck your...
They sided it in game 1.
Sighted in. Mained it. Thank you.
Sure.
And then, like, you just happen to have your out for Mystic Mind. Just like, blind hit it.
I guess in theory, then yes,
That's
that
like,
would work.
Yeah, but like, what are the odds of that exact circumstance happening?
Basically 0, because nobody's maining it right now.
Well, I'd say it's a non-zero chance, but we're talking infinitesimally small. But it is non-zero.
Let's move on to the newly limited cards. So to start off with the newly limited cards, we have Blackwing Steam the Cloak. This is a card that was previously banned.
Yes, which I think it's perfectly fine for it to come back now since Hulk is banned.
Potentially.
Yeah. It will probably cause some issues down the line. I'm not going to lie. But we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, with all the new Blackwing cards coming out,
Yeah.
it could potentially be an issue.
Actually, that might be why they banned Hulk in the first place, is so way they can unban Stream for all the Blackwing support.
Steam.
Steam, thank you.
Potentially, I just don't know that it's worth doing that much ban list modification over one card. Steam is a powerful card regardless.
Oh, yeah.
Very. I mean, it's a dark aqua.
Well, no, he's not.
No, the tokens are aqua.
Yeah, his token is a Wind Aqua.
Oh, okay. Wind aqua. Okay, so think about this. Let's summon Curious, send this guy, and then I believe he can use his own effect to revive himself, right?
I think he has to tribute a Blackwing to revive himself. Or something. I read him earlier today.
All right, Blackwing Steam the Cloak says, if this face-up card leaves the field, special summon 1 Steam token. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 1 monster, special summon this card from the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per duel. If this card special summon this way is used as synchro material, all other synchro materials must be Blackwings.
Yeah, but by the way, it's a rank 3.
Level
Yeah,
3.
level 3, thank you.
It's a level 3 tuner.
Yeah, so it can be used to make... it can be used in 3 axes.
Yeah, keep in mind, if it leaves the field, it summons that token. That is not once per turn.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, his revive, which is your primary way of getting him back on the field, is a hard once per duel.
Still, this card's gonna be really broken in Blackwings. The Blackwings might actually be. This is probably cope, but Blackwings might be competitive.
I mean, I've seen some people testing some of the new stuff. They got some pretty crazy boards. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. All right. The next card is Cyber Jar. This was forbidden. Also, it is now back at 1. This is gonna be similar in the way of Yatagarasu and Time Seal in that it's a card that's been banned forever. And at this point, it's just too slow to be a competitive issue.
I mean, it's probably. I mean, that's probably been the case for a long time now, for a long while now.
It is, yeah, it has.
And they're just like,
it's time. Yeah,
it's fine now. Let's go.
Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion was forbidden and is now at 1. This is another Hauki Fibrax tuner that was banned and is no longer banned. Next, we have Substitute. So. Now, this is really interesting. Substitute came out before Ronin Toden.
Yeah.
And was like good, but not broken. And then on Ronin Toden's release, that's when Frog FTK became a thing.
Yeah.
Substitute was identified as the problem because it is, and subsequently banned after Frog FTK format. So,
but they let Ronin Toden stay around because, and in the Frog FTK, Ronin Toden wasn't the problem; it was Substitute was a problem.
Yeah, so Ronin Toden not being once per turn allowed you to, because you could use the Substitute to keep cycling through every frog in your deck, and then once you used a swap frog to put a Ronin Toden in grave, you could use the Ronin Toden to keep. You would banish the frog from your graveyard, summon Ronin Toden, and then use a card like what was it?
Cannon Soldier?
No, not Wave Motion Cannon. Mash Driver.
Yeah, Mash Driver.
Mash Driver would deal 500 points per.
Yeah.
And it was just a spell card you just activated.
Yeah.
And so you would banish one, summon Ronin Toden back, and then Mash Driver, kill the Ronin Toden, and burn you for 5. And it would keep summoning itself back because you would use Substitute to put like 22-ish frogs in grave.
Yeah, Ronin Toden providing the material for Substitute to use to keep doing it.
Well, Substitute provided its own material.
Yeah.
So Substitute, for those that don't know, says you contribute 1. I don't know if it's frog or.
I think it's specifically a frog. Again, I read this earlier today, but it was like new.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's not. You contribute 1 monster, any monster, to special summon 1 frog monster from your deck, except Frog the Jam.
Yeah.
Frog monsters except Frog the Jam cannot be destroyed by battle.
Yeah. So like they would normal summon this. Out of effect, it could tribute itself if you really needed to get out Swap Frog, and then just Ronin Toden for days.
Yeah. So
using the Swap Frog Ronin Toden loop.
I don't know how I feel about this. I think that Substitute could be a big issue. But okay, I'm sorry. I spaced. You were like explaining that Substitute could just like tribute any of the frogs that it summoned, and then summon another one from deck, and then tribute that one to summon another one from deck, and that's how you go through your entire deck in one go.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Oh yeah. Now the thing about Substitute is that right now it's not that big of an issue. Right this second,
because Ronin Toden is banned.
Yeah.
So the FTK is not possible.
However, it is a ticking time bomb, as he had said actually in a conversation we were having earlier.
I would just like to say 1 for 1.
The Substitute is level 1.
Summon Substitute. Normal summon any monster. Represents you milling out every frog monster in your deck.
Yeah.
Not 1, not 2. Could be
all of them.
30.
But
anything with frog in the name except Frog the Jam. Just gone.
Who isn't Frog the Jam anymore? He's Slime Toad. So I'm predicting they're going to reprint him soon.
I really hope they reprint Substitute. That could be the one best good thing that comes from this is Substitute being reprinted because that card is a usable Edison card, and it was $15 before the ban list, and now it's up into the 20s.
Yeah, because they have to errata the card because now there's no card named Frog the Jam in the game.
I guess that's a fair point.
Yeah, because they officially errated Frog the Jam into Slime Toad.
I mean, if they're erratating the card to fix that, I mean, errata the card to where it also
It's a hard once per turn.
is a hard once per turn, and then it can just go to 3.
Yeah.
But I think this card is going to cause very serious issues very quickly.
Oh yeah, no. Literally all they need is a deck that can capitalize on just having a deck full of having a graveyard full of frogs.
Yeah. All right, the next card that is moved from banned to 1 is Spellbook of Judgment. Now, this is a card that was
spicy.
This card was only legal for 4 months before it got banned.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a really interesting unban. I don't think it'll necessarily be a problem. I think the strategy is a little too slow. Now, if it does resolve and it does do what it wants to do,
which is add like 1 copy of every spell book that's in your deck into your hand, and then also
no. That is in your graveyard.
Oh, okay, I thought it was out of deck. Even so, just getting back all the spell books you activated for the turn, except itself, I think, and then special summoning any spellcaster just about from your deck.
Okay, I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah.
During the end phase of the turn, this card was activated. You're right. Add spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand, except Spellbook of Judgment, up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then you can special summon from your deck one spellcaster type monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added to your hand by this effect.
Yeah.
You can only activate one Spellbook of Judgment per turn.
Yeah. So so that's if you're activating this thing, you already know you're in a position to get the exact number of spell books or spell cards activated, quote unquote.
Sure.
To get the spellcaster you want to just plop it on board.
Right.
Now, what spellcaster you would want, I'm not sure.
Jagrin the Spiritualist.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 other options.
Jagrin the Spiritualist.
There's probably 1 or 2 other options.
Jagrin the Spiritualist.
There's probably 1 or 2 other options as well.
That are not as good as Jagrin the Spiritualist.
Yeah, unless you're doing something weird.
Yeah. All right, the next card is Appointer of the Red Lotus. This is a newly limited card. This was not on the ban list before. Appointer of the Red Lotus, I love this hit. I think if they're going to do it, they should have just banned it. But at 1 is probably fine. Very few people are going to play it at 1. But they said that about Trap Dust Shoot too, and it eventually got itself banned also.
That's fair.
And this card is basically Trap Dust Shoot in today's day and age, where ripping that card out of your opponent's hand and getting full hand knowledge for an entire turn.
Yeah, that's...
It wins games because...
especially if you look at your opponent's hand, they have 2 hand traps. And it's like, hey, guess what?
No. At that point, you went first. You've already done combo. The hand traps don't matter.
Oh, good point. You
So
can
you
stop
need to-
them from...
Rip that Dark Ruler no more out of their hand.
Fair enough. Well, or... Of course, hand traps that they didn't utilize, that they're waiting to utilize as a board breaking tool,
Right.
Like Infinite Impermanence, for instance.
Right.
Yeah. Or Nibiru, for some reason they didn't just use it. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. We have no newly semi-limited cards.
Which is strange.
What's really upsetting to me is that Pot of Desires is still semi-limited.
For some reason.
And when I was at YCS Niagara, I bought an entire playset of collector's rares. So now I have 1 extra collector rare Desires. Woo.
Just hold on to it. I'm pretty sure that it'll eventually get unlimited.
I'll hold on to it. And 10K is still at 2, which I still think is weird as heck.
Yeah.
But, all right. And your newly unlimited cards.
Yeah, boy.
We have Dynamite Knight, the True Draco Fighter.
Whoo!
Good for True Draco. I still don't know that this deck is good. Cyber Angel Ben 10. I think that
Cool
this
for
was
Drytron.
actually... I think this was kind of a mistake because Cyber Angel Ben 10 is broken, but it'll be all right. Shooting Riser Dragon. This is one of the most questionable limits that we've had in years.
To be fair, Hulk isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah. So I'm fine with Shooting Riser coming to 3. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to send? Snow? Huh.
Yeah.
Fusion Destiny. This is probably fine.
No, there's no Verte.
Yeah, but it was like a consistency hit, so
Yeah,
people wouldn't just play the DPE engine anyway, but I think that's probably fine. Nadir Servant, which was a questionable semi-limit when it happened, so it makes sense that it eventually comes back. And Trickstar Light Stage from 1 to 3. This is interesting.
That's actually considerably a big jump. I'm not. You don't see cards go from 1 to 3 very often.
Oh, I'm sorry. It went from 2 to 3. I'm an idiot.
Okay. I was about to say.
But it was at. I didn't even realize it was at 2. That's how much it's meant. And Wall of Revealing Light. This is another one that was at 2 to 3. Just came out of probation. And yeah, that's it. That's
probably
the
continue
list.
to do nothing.
Yeah. So just a quick recap. Your entire list is Fairy Tale Snow, Ronin Toden, Christian Hauke Fibrax, Chaos Ruler the Chaotic Magical Dragon, and Red Reboot are your newly banned cards. Your newly limited cards are Blackwing Steam the Cloak, Cyberjar, Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, Substitute, then Spellbook of Judgment, and a Point of the Red Lotus. And your newly unlimited cards are Dynamite Knight the True Draco Fighter, Cyber Angel Benten Shooting Riser Dragon, Fusion Destiny, Nadir Servant, Trickstar Light Stage, and Wall of Revealing Light.
So, there are 2 cards that are not on this list.
Yeah.
That I don't like. That they're not on this list. Do you want to talk about that, or?
Okay, so there's actually a bunch of cards that are not on this list that are big problems for me, and I actually have quite a few issues with this list. On paper, it sounds like a not terrible list.
Yeah, it sounds solid. But it's a base of soapstone. It's solid rock, but it's soapstone.
Okay, I have a Twitter thread that I posted this earlier to our Twitter account, and I think that it's worth just reading on the podcast because it illustrates a lot of my concerns with this ban list that I think are warranted.
That's fair.
All right, so this is word for word everything that I said in my thread, which you can find on our Twitter account. Warning, this is long. It's like an essay.
Ooh.
While I think that this Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list could have been great, what we got is surprisingly underwhelming considering the amount of moves. I want to make a thread to explain this community's reasoning behind their frustration with this list, and then I added the Konami official account, the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG official account, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! EU official account for visibility. The first thing I would like to say is, I don't want this thread to come across as needless whining or groaning about yet another terrible list. I actually like this list quite a lot for the most part. With that said, there are some really, really glaring issues. Of course, Mystic Mine has been a huge problem for a long time now. But over the last 2 to 3 months, it has become a mainstay in every major event-winning deck list, whether the deck is traditionally a slow-paced deck or not. Sure, we have seen Burn, Rika, and Exo Sister win events where they weren't expected to even be there. But you also have Sword Soul, pre-Power of the Elements, and Tier Elements using the card in winning lists. While I can see an argument for Mystic Mine creating artificial diversity, it feels more like Mine is also being used to insulate combo decks as well. Don't have enough to play into your opponent's board going second? Just mind them until you do. It's a reminder that Imperial Order was banned for shutting off an entire game mechanic. Mystic Mine shuts off 2 mechanics. It's a terrible card. Even if its design is to be a powerful going second card that allows you to play into a board, it's dumb. We already have that. Dark Ruler No More, Nibiru, Forbidden Droplet, and most hand traps were already added to the game with this in mind. Next up is Artifact Scythe. Artifact Scythe has been single-handedly costing people games for years now. And with Dagda being a card, it's easier than ever. To be fair, the Hulk ban means less ways to pop Scythe. But the issue is that decks like Live Twin Sprite and Drytron still do it. With the large amount of cards that destroy a card on the field and quick effect speed, either Scythe or Dagda needs to go. It will limit future game design as long as this card remains legal. Red Reboot also got banned. On the surface, this actually seems like a great hit. It's an exceptionally strong card that blanks traps for the turn. The issue with this ban, though, is that there are so many powerful trap cards in the game right now that we need that interaction. Cards like Dimensional Barrier or Harpy's Featherstorm will now win games faster and better than ever before due to a lack of ways to interact. On a game built around interaction, this is a critical balancing error. Either those cards go too, or let us have a chance of stopping them. My last major point is that Tier Limit was mostly untouched this list. Hitting Snow was a good start, but Curious should have also been banned, and potentially there should have also been 1 or 2 limits as well. With the Ishizu cards coming soon, this deck is going to be a major pain. It's not too late though. Since the list does not take effect until October 3rd, next Monday, I think that the best thing to do at this point would be to release an addendum to this list to add some extra cards. So, banned: Mystic Mine, Curious the Lightsworn Dominion, Dimensional Barrier, Harpy's Featherstorm, and Artifact Scythe. 5 cards. Limited: Tier Limits Haveness. I know that this seems extreme, but that's because it is. This game needs major strides to get back to a place where players can feel rewarded for skillful gameplay. Many players at this point are disgusted with the game right now. They were upset before this list, and this hasn't helped at all. I have heard from many people that I know that they're taking a break from the game, at least. And who can blame them? In a world where the major issues of a format are not addressed by a ban list, the company that runs the game refuses to properly communicate with its players, and there's no real monetary incentive to play the game competitively, then why stay? I want to close this thread by saying that overall, I actually think that this game is run rather well for the most part. Do I think that there are major changes that could be made? Sure, but I love this game. I think it's unique in so many amazing ways. And more than that, I love the community. I've made so many friends and colleagues over the last couple of years that I wouldn't have met otherwise. But at the end of the day, the game needs to be properly balanced to maintain its level of competition. Again, I hope this thread doesn't come off as whining and moaning. I just love this game and think that we should expect the best from the company that runs it. Good luck to this format, everyone.
Whew.
There's a lot to unpack there. But
I mean, it be how it be.
that's just it. I don't see a world where this game is considered to be in a healthy game state. That I just don't see a world that this is considered a healthy game state. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a lot, and it's extreme, and it feels like an overreaction. But Mystic Mine is still a problem. It shuts off multiple game mechanics. It's just horrible. It's not fun. It's not interactive. And again, this is a game built on the concept of constant, heavy interaction. And having cards like Mystic Mine, D-Barrier, Harpy's Featherstorm, Artifact Scythe just throttle that down. They bottleneck all the interaction, and they just choke out the fun of the game. And I know, again, this reaction seems visceral and extreme, but I'm pretty upset. And I think it's justified.
Oh yeah, very much so.
I've heard from no less than half a dozen people within an hour of the Banlist reaction. They were like, yeah, I was already thinking about leaving the game because like a myriad of reasons, right? Whether it be that the cards are expensive, which I'll be honest, to me is never going to be a like completely justifiable reason to quit the game, because you can definitely play the game competitively for a budget. So whether it be that pricing, whether it be that the game moves very fast, whether it be whatever, this was the nail in the coffin for so many people. A company that doesn't communicate with its player base, gives no incentives to really gives no incentives. It's disheartening.
Oh, very much so.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. So I don't really have anything else to add. Caleb, do you?
No, not really. I just kind of let you do your little rant.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody so much for listening to today's episode. I know this is a bit shorter one, but
Yeah.
like I said, we already had a whole episode recorded. And
Yeah, it's late.
yeah, so we had to go back and record a whole nother episode that we weren't planning on recording. And this has to be edited and uploaded in less than 9 hours. And now there's video to edit. It's a whole process. So we're going to try to get this pushed out, get everything put together. A huge thank you to all of our listeners for supporting. We really do appreciate it. And just, again, a shout out to Millennium Threads, code TopCut10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Dragon Show Games and TCG Player, whose affiliate links are down below. Our patrons, absolutely, thank you so much. Thank you to all the loyal listeners and people that come back every week just to hear us ramble.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Well, I've been feeling a bit of nostalgia lately because I've started like going back and looking back at like old numbers and seeing where we were versus where we are now, and it blows my mind to think that we're. I did the numbers a little bit before we started. We're at like 110,000 plays.
Woo!
In like a year and a half, which is just mind-boggling. So a huge thank you to all of our wonderful supporters. We really can't thank you enough. So with that said, I think that's going to wrap us up for today's episode.
Yep. Yeah, that should be good for me. Take care, everybody.